The State Narcotics Bureau is not the only agency having to make do with less funding. I spoke with State Impact Oklahoma reporter Logan Layden about what shrinking budgets mean for the Oklahoma Department of Tourism and the state parks operated by the agency. Logan, tourism is a big deal in Oklahoma, but that may soon be changing.
Well, they've taken a huge cut this year in the amount of money that they're going to be working with. You've got $1 million in their state appropriation that has now been removed. You add to that $8 million or so from the amount of money in sales and use tax that goes to the agency, $5 million from the agency's general revolving fund, $2 million from the agency's capital improvements revolving fund, $500,000 from the golf course maintenance fund, and you take all of that and you add it together and it's a little more than $16 million. And then if you consider the fact that with all the recent rain, there's been an untold, as of yet, amount of damage at state parks that has to be paid for. You can see the situation at tourism is pretty bad.
Absolutely. And what does that mean for state parks?
We don't know for sure yet. I talked to Claudia Connor, who is the deputy director of the agency, and they're still pretty stunned by this. This has all happened pretty recently. And we don't know yet if they're going to have to close any state parks because of budget cuts or transfer them to other managers. But in the past, because this isn't the first time they've taken cuts, since 2011, actually if you add this year to their previous cuts, it's about 40% going over the last 4 years. But in the past, they have transferred 7 parks to other managers. They're still operating, and 1 park has had to close because of budget cuts. I would say you'll probably see that happen again.
So if parks close or reduce services, if promotion is not as robust as it once was, if many things that tourism has been doing for decades in Oklahoma are reduced, what will that mean for those communities that rely on tourism?
Well, right. A lot of these state parks are out in kind of wooded area in the middle of nowhere, basically, and with small towns around them. And even if you close a park that maybe only has 20 or 30,000 people coming every year, that's 20 or 30,000 people more that are coming to this small town that wouldn't otherwise be there. So legislators out in eastern Oklahoma, especially Democrats that I've talked to, are very upset about this and very concerned about what this means for something that's very important to a lot of local economies in that part of the state.
So what happens next?
Well, tourism has some big decisions to make on how to deal with this cut. Again, they're not sure yet. They need to be sure by July 1st because that's when the new fiscal year begins.
And the legislature, of course, is not in session until next year, so there isn't anything that they could do to address these issues.
No, and there's a big concern about what another budget hole next year will mean to state parks again, so we might be right back here next year.
Logan Layden from State Impact Oklahoma, I know you've been on the story for some time and will continue to be. Thanks for joining us.